know right now that 60% of the country, according to the mainstream media polls, which means it's probably closer to 80%, do you understand that they'd vote for Trump over you right now, today? And you're calling that many people in the country domestic terrorists, fascists, we're a threat to democracy? Where's your democracy, Joe? You've imposed energy standards on the country. You have wrecked our economy with no transition period that you said would happen. Absolutely 1 day of transition when you signed the Keystone Pipeline. First afternoon in office, you did that, Joe. Oh no, we'll transition into all these things before we get rid of fossil fuels. We were an energy nation and you have destroyed that. And this country is headed towards the depths of depression under you, Joe. Who's the threat to democracy now, Joe? But you know, these little rhinos, we didn't get out in the midterms. And then you have Mitch McConnell, who the people of Kentucky don't have the balls to take him out of office through a recall effort, which they could do. He's hated in Kentucky. You just sit there and let this go on, America. You let him go. Do you not understand what he's doing? This is we're going to come and get you talk. This is what they did in Nazi Germany. And listen, I know the history of Nazi Germany better than the history books because I grew up with people who escaped from Hitler. My ancestors who got out, lived with us for a while. I heard these stories. I heard them a lot. You couldn't go to a movie theater in Berlin without seeing in the 5-minute where they used to show the news, they'd show rats in the corner. Those are the Jews. They're the enemy of our democracy. Look at that rat scurry, spreading its filth and disease. That's what people saw in the movies in Germany. And that's what your president is doing, referring to most of the country now. What did Hitler do following that? I think you better answer that question for America before it's too late. That's it for the Common Sense Show. Please share this far and wide. Thumbs up, like us. Make sure you become a member of the CommonSenseShow.tv. We've extended our due date to sign up on the low price of under $3 a month for the subscription service. We've extended it. Sign up now. There's not a lot of time left because we can't make this indefinite because we're paying for rapidly rising, thanks to Joe Biden's inflation, rapidly rising bandwidth debt. And that's what we're facing. And I've said before, we want to bring people this news, but we're not going to bring it to you at a deficit. We have to break even. And I know people understand that. But a lot of people said, Dave, I just didn't have time. Okay, I will get to it. Okay. So we're all in this together. I'm on your side. I want you to join with us. So we've extended that time. TheCommonSenseShow.tv. We'll see you over there. God bless everybody. And it's time to stand against this administration. The time for talk is over. The time to engage in civil disobedience. We're not obeying this law, this law, this law, this law, and you start your recall efforts in your various states. It's time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
All praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Ha, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders which rule Great Millstone well. And Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom and Abba Babal. Alright, as you just heard from the Common Sense Show, which his name is Dave Hodges. He's an Edomite, and this is his kingdom. Alright, the so-called white man is the red devil the Bible speaks of. And as you can see, the house of Satan is divided, so how could it stand? It's surely going to fall. Alright? And as you heard him say himself, it's time, pretty much he's telling the people to rise up against the government, which this was prophesied to take place in these last days. In 2 Ezra 15, it says in verse 1, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people. The Lord's people are the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which have been scattered throughout the world in slavery. The words of prophecy. Prophecy means to say it before it happens. Which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. And the way he puts it in our mouth is through the Spirit. All right, the words in the Holy Scriptures dealing with an elect has a spirit upon it so that we can understand it, called the Holy Spirit, which the angels minister to us, and cause them to be written in paper, which you got books, Bibles, for they are faithful and true. And like I said, they're coming to pass today. All right, and I'm not saying, I'm warning. All right, because these words are Yahweh's, and they're prophesying of Yahweh Shai's return. All right, the Holy Scriptures are the word of Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai is the word. All right, he is the only begotten Son of Yahweh, which was crucified for the nation of Israel, so that the wage of sin may be covered by him, so that we may be saved, because we sinned against our power, Yahweh. And Yahweh made a way for us through Yahweh Shai. Now it's coming to the time where Yahweh Shai is going to collect his Israelites, starting with his elect. Now 2/3 in America alone are going to be left behind to perish in the lake of fire, because they are deceived and deceiving. Okay? They're going to make the MOTB, the implantable microchip, mandatory for buying and selling. All right? And whoever receives that is going to be destroyed in the lake of fire. All right? Now it says in verse 5, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." All right? So these plagues are upon the world today. Okay? And it's only going to get worse. It says, in verse 14, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword," the so-called white man, "and their destruction draweth nigh. For one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." Which you have that going to happen on a civil level, but you got it actually happening even on a kingdom level. All right? It's going to be a world war, which is in Matthew 24. Wars and rumors of wars. It says, and also the invading of each other here in the civil frame of mind, because when you read this, there's going to be actually uproars because of famine and tribulation. So, you got neighbors that got guns. They're going to get those guns and go inside the neighbor's house to take whatever he has, it says. We'll get it. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another." Sedition is what you just heard Dave Hodges declare. That he's telling his listeners to rise up against their own government. Pretty much, it's going to be a revolt, a civil war also, on top of a race war. All right, and then it's going to escalate into a world war and a war of heaven, where the Lord comes back on a so-called UFO with the angels following him to fight the devil and his angels. All right, which is the so-called white man and their military, which is NATO. It says, "They shall not regard their kings nor princes," which you just saw Dave Hodges talking shit to his king, which is Biden, the king of Babylon. "And the course of their actions shall stand in their power," which these Edomites that are on TV and on the internet, they have big followings. And these people are restless, and they're ready to go up against their government in a revolt, and that's going to kick off soon. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." You'll have martial law. It says, "For because of their pride," you're going to have civil war, "the city shall be troubled," because you're going to have war in the streets of America. And this is going to happen worldwide. "The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. It tells you in Zechariah 14 that the women are going to be ravished in this time. They're going to go into a house and rape whoever they want, eat your food, drink your water, your soda, your liquor, and rape, whoever's in that house for days, and then finally kill you, and then just walk away because there's no one there to stop them. There's not going to be a 911. All right, the whole freaking world is going to be in a state of trouble, in a state of chaos. All right, and in a state of perilous times. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. Because if you ain't crossing border lines, guess what? Your food trucks, the semis that move the food, they're not crossing borders. So there ain't going to be no more grocery stores. All right? It's going to be a straight out, all out war, a bloodbath from America to the other side of the world. It says, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, which they've been calling this winter to be a winter of great tribulation, a lack of resources. All right? So we're in the beginning of the climax of Jacob's trouble. And when it really gets real bad, they're going to tempt the world with the MOTB, an implantable microchip, and make it mandatory for buying and selling. But they're going to use chaos to bring forth their NWO. And if you're deceived into taking that mark, you're going to be destroyed in the lake of fire, which America is going to be destroyed with 200 million nukes. All praises to Yahweh Hashem Yoshai. Double honors to our apostles and elders, which rule Great Millstone well. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure. And Abba Babal.